Have you ever heard of a guy invading his own brother's kingdom? Like, imagine your brother asking you to run a country for him, then turning around and kicking you out of it. Sounds wild, right? Well, that's exactly what happened between Napoleon Bonaparte and his brother Louis in the early 1800s. And honestly, it's one of the most dramatic family betrayals in European history. So here's the deal. Around 1810, the Netherlands was under the rule of Louis Bonaparte, Napoleon's younger brother. Now, Napoleon had a habit of putting his brothers and relatives on the thrones of the countries France controlled. His logic, he couldn't trust anyone else, but even blood ties weren't enough to stop the Emperor of France from doing what he felt was necessary. Louis actually did a solid job in the Netherlands. When he became king, he wasn't just a puppet, he genuinely tried to make life better for the Dutch. He built hospitals, cleaned up corruption, reformed education, and even supported religious minorities. All of that made him pretty popular with the locals. He wasn't just some French ruler forced on them, he became their king. But Napoleon, he wasn't happy. As the Napoleonic Wars dragged on, he needed more from his puppet kings, more troops, more control, more loyalty. Louis, on the other hand, was trying to balance ruling Holland properly with being a Bonaparte. He didn't fully follow Napoleon's orders. He turned a blind eye to smuggling with Britain and refused to enforce harsh conscription laws that would send Dutch men to fight in French wars. That really ticked Napoleon off. Things escalated fast. When the Dutch couldn't hold off a British invasion on their own, Louis had to beg his big bra for help. Napoleon helped push the British out, but saw it as a major failure on Louis's part. So, in typical Napoleon fashion, he demanded Louis abdicate the throne. He even tried to soften the blow by offering him the Spanish crown. Louis said no. And just like that, Napoleon snapped. He started annexing parts of the Netherlands, then eventually took over the whole kingdom. Louis tried one last move by handing the crown to his son before fleeing to Austria, but Napoleon didn't recognize it. Instead, he fully absorbed Holland into the French Empire. Louis never got his kingdom back. Even after Napoleon's fall, some Dutch leaders wanted him to return, but the great powers of Europe weren't having it. A Bonaparte ruling right next to France again? Yeah, that was a no-go. So, yeah, next time you think your sibling is being difficult, just remember it could be worse. They could invade your country.